Welcome to Business in the Pod, the podcast where DeMore McKim students, like myself, sit down with college leadership and explore trending business topics. Today, we're excited to welcome Dean David De Cremer, the Dunton Family Dean of DeMore McKim School of Business. With a distinguished career spanning business schools across the globe, Dean De Cremer is a leading expert in the intersection of humans and smart technologies. His research explores how AI is transforming business and society, and how leaders can navigate these changes to drive innovation and impact. In this episode, we'll dive into HumanAIzation, however you pronounce that, a concept he introduced that emphasizes putting humans at the center of AI development and decision-making. Welcome. First, I'd like to introduce myself. So my name is Clare Murray. I'm originally from Apple Valley, Minnesota, so a little bit outside of the Twin Cities, and I'm studying international business with a concentration in brand management and a minor in history.
Thank you, first of all, Claire, for having me. Great that you're a student and a very active student in our community.
So, HumanAIzation, how do you pronounce that first?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. It would probably depend on the accent and the country you're from. But as you can see, we have HumanAIzation and we have AI. So AI fits really in the middle there. HumanAIzation, that's how I would pronounce it. It's really to put the human at the core of AI development, like you said.
What kind of inspired you to look at this intersection with AI being such a trending topic? How did you narrow in on what you really wanted to talk about with this?
Yeah, it's a good question because, as you just said, AI is everywhere. Everyone's talking about it. And if everyone keeps talking about AI, it seems like the focus is narrowing down to what is the technology going to do. And we tend to forget about the humans as well. But at the end of the day, humans discovered it. Humans are developing it. So what is the purpose of AI? If you start thinking deeper about that question, it's not only enhancing efficiency and turn people into computers, to say so. It should be the other way around. How can computers help humans to be more humane, and better at being a human? So I see AI as part of the development journey of humanization.
How do you see AI complementing rather than replacing human skills in the workforce?
Today, basically in 2025, we're already going to talk about AI agents. So autonomous AI, who's going to do certain tasks. But is it going to replace or augment is really a big question still. So I always get frustrated when I listen to CEOs, even still today in interviews. The first thing they'll focus on is like, are you going to keep your job? Are we going to replace people? And it's actually, I find it sad that we're still in that stage of the discussion because, again, that means we're narrowing down what a human or an employee in this case is a mean to enhance productivity and efficiency. So if the AI is more efficient, we should replace the human. So that means two things. It becomes a zero-sum game rather than collaborative. Either you lose or you win from the AI. And second, you're only compared on the dimension of how effective and efficient you can be. Whereas there's so much more to, of course, the workforce. And an AI is not going to do all the work. You still need a human workforce. So replacing, yes, but these are going to be routine tasks with a purpose. The purpose is to basically liberate people. Liberate people in terms of just doing the administration, the data management. So for example, management positions, 64% of their time they spend on data. Well, yeah, AI can do this. But at the same time, can you uplift managers to be leaders? Because that requires creativity, critical thinking, perspective taking, understanding stakeholders, representing a vision, which are human qualities. So you want to make sure that you see people grow in their roles and actually can touch upon the things that where a human can make a difference. And that's HumanAIzation, again, in practice. So you see, replacing and augmenting goes together. We replace what we actually don't want to spend time on, and hopefully that leads to augmentation of humans.
And recently, again, with DeepSeek coming in, that highlighted a little bit of issue with ChatGPT and the cost of AI, both environmentally and economically to businesses. So how do you see that evolving, and what's the current state of that now?
Well, with DeepSeek, it almost feels like the economy of AI changed overnight, because before that, as you know, in the US, our entrepreneurship drives on risk capital. Do people want to invest? And we pitch our best ideas, And it's enormous amounts of money that have been going into AI. If you look at the big five tech companies, we're talking about trillions in total. So it's an amazing amount. Of course, when DeepSeek came and they said it's $6 million US, wow. Well, there's two important lessons for me there, especially as a dean of a business school and looking at from education. Is the first one is, I mean, it's great that counterweight has been provided because you're an international business student. So I like the fact that, okay, the cross-cultural component is there as well. And in what way is that component there is, as you know, China basically is suffering from sanctions. They can't get to the chip. They can't get the chips that we use in the West. So it's not as advanced. So they had to think outside of the box. And we've always been focusing on large language models. Together with the word large, there's large investments. We're focusing on the accuracy, optimizing, and it becomes a business question. So that's why we have an AI arms race. It's all about money at the end of the day. China at that moment had a climate where they were just trying to create AI, but without having access to the most advanced chips. So they were thinking like, okay, what is small and efficient? So this is what we call frugal innovation, doing more with less. So I like this from an educational point of view because it shows actually, even under financial constraints or resource constraints, in this case the chips, people can still come up with something very innovative that creates much more value. But what we should be looking at is what kind of value does it create? Can we leverage that enormous cost into something that benefits humanity? With DeepSeek, I think that question is back on the forefront, which I'm happy about because this tells us a lot about education. The second thing is really about, okay, there's a cultural component, but there's also a geopolitical component. It's like, okay, are we going to collaborate? And the collaboration is very important because, as you know, DeepSeek is an open source model. So with open source now also being on the forefront, I hope there's going to be a stronger call for transparency, regulation, collaboration of sharing data, seeing how we advance our models. Because at the end of the day, the most innovation is made when there's open innovation, when people do share these things.
How are how are we doing right now with preparing students to work alongside AI?
I'm very proud of what we've done so far at the school. So first of all, as you probably know, we have an AI patch where we want to prepare our students more in being AI savvy because this is important for your co-op. Because companies today want to see some indicators there in your CV. Okay, what do you know about the new technologies? That's one thing. The second thing is what we call DASH. So DASH is abbreviation for DeMoor-McKim School of Business AI Strategic Hub. So I've established this year with the aim to prepare our faculty to use AI in the classroom and to prepare students more for the work context as it is today. So why are we doing this? Because of course, faculty, just like students, they have to learn about it as well. So we need to do faculty development. So DASH provides that kind of information and training. So we have AI faculty days where we talk about how to use AI in the classroom, how to use AI in research. And Strategic Initiative also focuses on AI for corporate outreach, that we can work together with companies, even tech companies. And people may say, you're a business school, why are you doing this? Well, because we want to make our students AI savvy, but also our faculty. So because AI is also going to change education. So my dream is that in the very near past, starting next academic year, much of our teaching will be like almost simulating the workplace, where you use AI as a tool in your educational journey.
What should DeMoor-McKim students focus on now? What skills to bring to co-op and to other job opportunities that not only won't be replaced by AI, but are really crucial to understanding and being a valuable worker in the future?
Yeah. Well, like I said, the AI, so what is important for the DeMoor-McKim School of student when going out? It can be a co-op or when you graduate, you get a job. First of all, make it visible that you are AI savvy. I mean, people don't put in the effort to find out. You need to show it, yeah? So, and what I mean by AI savviness is you understand what you can use AI for and what you can't use it for. Because one of the problems that most companies today are facing is really, they see it there's an AI arms race in development, but there's also, and it seems like an AI's race in applying AI. So companies say like, oh, we can't be left behind. Let's use AI. And everyone jumps and says, oh, the board wants this, the CEO wants this. Okay, let's adopt AI. And what usually happens, it becomes an engineering and a computer science approach where, oh, let's just buy the AI. The business leaders approve the budget. Then they bring in the AI. But it's a human exercise, actually, because your people need to be able to work with it. So is the infrastructure there? Is the training there? Are people willing to work with it? And then the most important question, so what are we going to use it for? Whereas most business leaders are just fear of missing out, we need to have AI. So that means they see AI almost as a strategy. Once we have AI, we're competitive. That's wrong. No, AI is not a strategy. AI can help your strategy. But you see, that requires that you bring business knowledge together again with what are you going to use AI for? So as a the more McKim School of Business student, I still want you to be able to say, yes, AI has all these abilities, but this is the business question that your company needs to address. And this is how AI can help you, and this is how it cannot help you.
What are some ways we can develop these skills?
We've already mentioned using AI as a tool in the classroom and solving business problems in real time by looking at the information you have, having discussions with your professor, is already learning a skill, like putting it in context. Other ideas are really like you have to test and you have to experiment. So how are you going to do this? Do this together with your team. If you're a team leader, okay, you're using it, but are your team members using it as well? Can you do so collaboratively? Because that's going to build new jobs of the future. Quite often companies are waiting for, oh, what are the jobs of the future? Well, we'll wait for the list to arrive and then we'll see which ones we create. No, the best companies are creating the jobs of the future themselves.
You take a very optimistic view on AI, which I think is a little bit different than a lot of people in this conversation. But with some of the fears, what do you caution current business leaders, students, and maybe even other people in education on what not to use it for and how to make that distinction of like laying off employees or using it in the classroom?
I'm an AI optimist, but I'm also a humanity optimist. And I believe both can go hand in hand. As you said, that's a rare position because either people are completely all in for AI and disregard the human. So I meet a lot of AI developers who are so focused on what I mentioned, the AI accuracy, the input. Is the AI so good in solving a test or an exam? And they truly believe if we can get to 100% accuracy, then humans have no role to play anymore. Now the bigger question is, of course, they can be very accurate, but can we leverage that to create real value for humans, which should be holistic in my view, not only economic efficiency, but also enriching your life, make humans grow. That's the bigger question. And that's why I put those together. AI can provide that if used in ways that corresponds with that bigger purpose, that holistic point of view. And that's where I see a dichotomy right now. Business leaders, because they're not AI savvy enough, they focus so much on the economic necessity and a fear of missing out. We need to have AI. So AI becomes a strategy in itself. It's like I compare it to a hammer. If you have a hammer, everything becomes a nail. So for them, it's like AI is a solution to everything. Now, what I want with our students at the Moore McKim School of Business, and basically for every business school student, is to be able to put that in the context of a business question. No, what is our business about? Who are our stakeholders? What is it that we want to provide? And how can we do so better? And that's where AI arrives. How can we do so better? Oh, AI can help, but how? You need to know the question first. You need to understand AI in what it can provide and what it can't. And then apply it in certain applications.
And with companies that are maybe relying a little bit too much on AI, how in this culture do we preserve creativity and kind of make it so that we have different ideas coming in, we're not just recreating old ones?
Adopting that augmentation paradigm is very important because it's going to be AI and humans together who are going to come up with the most creative solutions. So right now, there's this whole debate on, is AI creative? Yes, AI creates a lot of new ideas, but are they necessarily meaningful? Are they necessarily useful for a problem? Not necessarily, because a human still has to identify a problem first before an AI can start working on it. AI doesn't identify problems and starts working on it. So that's still where you need a human. So it's really about the collaboration there. So in my view, this is where business leadership plays an enormous role. That you create the right work culture, where you create these sandboxes and allow employees to work and learn and fail on how to work with AI and see whether it makes sense. This also, to apply it yes or no, this also means that we need to have better communication channels. I call this flat communication. People in your organization need to be able to provide feedback as quickly as possible to all the relevant stakeholders within the company. This can be marketing, this can be finance, this can be your supervisor, this can be the CEO, that they know like, oh, this is working or this is not working, and this is where we invest. Invest money, but also invest people's time. So it's only this way that a company can grow. And again, business leaders who are AI savvy enough to understand the relevance of AI to their business question are the ones who will be able to create it. It also means that leadership training in terms of fostering collaboration, that people work across boundaries, tech experts with business experts. Every department shares their data. You'll need your emotional intelligence. You need to be able to build trust within your company. So you see, all these leadership abilities are still needed today as well to bring both perspectives together.
And if you could change one thing about how AI is being developed or currently used, what would that be?
Well, more collaboration in terms of a true data democracy, because then this will work. The idea that we have of a holistic approach, an augmenting approach. And what I mean by data democracy is, if you look at now the biggest, the big 5 companies, tech companies in the world, they basically own all the data, advance most of the sophisticated technology, come up with new AI models, and to go, especially large language models, because that requires always more and more energy if you want to improve your model. And only they can pay for it. It's also a reason why these tech companies are buying nuclear plants or buying electricity or making their own battery companies, because they will need that energy to keep developing these models. So this is where we need that frugal innovation as well, where we do less with more, because right now we're in a loop, especially with large language models. To get a better model, we need so much more energy. So this is of course not sustainable. So we'll need to come. So that's why there's also a trend now to focus more on small language models, more efficient. And in that sense, DeepSeek was of course a breakthrough to realize, oh yeah, we can do so.
And that is kind of a whole other debate right now, but as business leaders, what should we know about the environmental concerns with AI and energy consumption?
Yeah. So AI and environmental concerns, it's a big thing. AI takes energy. It costs energy. Tech companies are fighting almost to get that energy, buying their own nuclear plants, coming up with energy plants themselves, batteries, investments, because that's going to be that's going to make sure that they can win that AI arms race or stay ahead of it. Now, there's a problem there, of course. Everyone needs energy. Everyone needs heating. Everyone would like to have a decent life, so electricity is needed. And that's where sustainability in different forms. First of all, inequality. So when I talk about data democracy, there's a democracy in itself as well. If all the power is in the hands of a few companies, there's inequality rather than equality. So the access is not completely open. The power is completely, the balance is, it's completely out of balance. So that touches upon, okay, how fair and equal is our society and world when it comes down to technology? That's a big question in itself already. The second thing is, because it takes so much energy, of course it pollutes. Of course, I mean, if you see how much energy already it takes to have to make a prompt. I mean, if you make several prompts, some of your equipment at home can already run for 15 minutes. So that's like, wow. And we don't see this reflected in the prices yet. I mean, if you say $20 a month for OpenAI to use ChatGPT, it's way too cheap based on the amount of energy that they're using. Now, because of course they're trying to find a business model, these tech companies like OpenAI, that works. So they're experimenting, but at the same time, we're just wasting a lot of energy or harming the environment in the search for that business model. So you see, there needs to be much more awareness about that problem and more transparency about how much energy it really costs, and also the energy that you use, what's its use and its purpose. Because like I said, AI should serve humanity. At the same time, the energy that we use to develop that AI cannot harm humanity in the collective. So you see, there's a big ethical question there to solve.
What message do you have for other business leaders who are trying to look towards the future and see how they can center humans in this process?
What would I say to business leaders today to bring AI into the future and take care of your people at the same time? Is, first of all, become AI savvy and understand human and artificial intelligence are not in competition with each other. They're there to work together to improve humanity. Now, that means be responsible about the questions you're asking and see where AI can help you. Be responsible to your stakeholders and show why it's meaningful to use AI in your business. I think those are important reflections that business leaders need to ask themselves. But this also means, how do they do this? Of course, they're going to be very anxious when you say that. Lifelong learning. So it really helps, even if it's just 1 hour a day, that you go on LinkedIn or follow an online course. Keep updated, not in being a computer scientist that you know how to code, that you understand the AI in its details, but simply what are the developments. And realize that these developments are painting a future, but you're not going to use that right away. Because of course, bringing in AI into your company means risk management. So you're still going to supervise the use of AI for the purpose you want to achieve. But just stay updated, be part of the discussion, and also be part of the discussion on how to use that AI in your business, be an industry leader. And I think that will be so satisfying, because you'll be there where things happen in real time, but at the same time you'll still be able to identify and define your company when it comes down to that AI arms race.
All right, thank you so much.